Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be ranking every single movie that I saw in the month of December. I feel like I'm making this video a little late. The month of December was very, very hectic. A lot of really good movies came out. I happen to only see 6 of them. I am incredibly upset about the ones that I've missed. I missed Mufasa, which I personally was excited about. Lin-Manuel Miranda doing any music for a Disney project gets me on board immediately. I missed the movie Baby Girl starring Nicole Kidman. I missed A Complete Unknown. I think A Better Man, but I've heard that the wide release for that one actually hasn't even came out yet, so I'm incredibly confused. But I am a big fan of musical biopics, and I've actually heard a lot of good things about that one, so I'm kind of upset about it. Sonic 3, if I am being honest, I actually haven't seen any of the Sonic movies. One day I'll watch all 3 of them, and I am probably going to love them to death, but I've seen a lot of people talking about how amazing that one was. So, that being said, those are some of the big ones I missed. Now let's dive into the movies that I did get to see. Alrighty, and coming in dead last place, we have a movie that I really did not like. We got the movie The Night Bitch. I'm gonna be totally real with you. I have said this on my account before, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like everybody has, like, 1 or 2 actors that, like, for whatever reason, they just can never get on board with. For me, Amy Adams is one of those actors. I have been a diehard fan of Dear Evan Hansen, probably one of my favorite Broadway musicals of all time. When that movie came out, I literally got so upset because Amy Adams was in it. And so for me, this movie, I feel like I potentially would have liked it if it was literally anybody else playing the lead actress. But the context here, it was just a really weird movie. The whole concept of, like, this mother randomly deciding to become, like, a dog and kind of follow into more animalistic instincts. What the hell? It was really weird. I feel like a lot of people, like, have been yearning for more, like, original stories and trying to do a lot more crazy things in cinema. And this one, I feel like, just completely fell flat for me. I feel like it didn't go weird enough. I feel like if they wanted to embrace this topic, they could have went even further into it. And I feel like just overall, they do a lot to kind of just, like, keep pounding in the fact that, like, it is so difficult to be a mother. And it literally feels like if they took America Ferrera's monologue from the Barbie movie, that, like, really good, powerful monologue, I think it's, like, 2.5 minutes long, and they stretched that out into an hour and 30-minute long movie, because I think I got about, like, 50 minutes into this movie, and I literally had to pause it and, like, start a tally mark of every single time Amy Adams' character just goes off about how difficult it is being a mother and how, like, nobody understands how much women have to go through, which, like, I get, very important message. It's awesome. You do not need to be so on the nose about it. But that being said, overall, this movie's just not for me, and I should have known that as soon as I saw that Amy Adams was in this cast. I wasn't going to like it, but I just didn't. I'm sorry. In 5th place, I unfortunately have the movie Y2K. I actually really like this movie coming out of the theater, and I still am very on the fence about it. This movie, I feel like, has no plot whatsoever. The plot is one of the, like, weirdest, just, okay, robots, what if they came to life? Okay, cool, they did that now. Okay, but now we need to solve that problem. And they just basically go to the school where these kids, you know, because we're focusing on kids this entire movie, we just go to their school, and for some reason, there's literally just, like, a computer perfectly set up, laid up, out, ready for them to just type in a little hacky code, put in a USB drive, and then save the day. And I think that plot being so basic and watered down made me not enjoy the fact that, like, this movie has an incredible set design. It has incredible nostalgic moments. I think that overall this movie does literally feel like a very early 2000s movie, or, you know, late 1990s, whatever movie. And I love the, like, teen feel of it. There's a lot of fun coming of age aspects to it that I enjoy. The comedy works incredibly well for me. The nostalgic music, they are literally pounding you over the head with this 90s nostalgia. And I think it's cool, right? I really like the vibes of it. But the plot suffers so much. This movie is advertised as kind of being a horror movie. You don't really get a lot of horror in it. And I just overall think that this movie ended up being really underwhelming, in my opinion. Now, coming in 4th place, I have the movie Kraven the Hunter. In my opinion, I think this is the best Spunsy movie, the best Sony Pictures, Universe of Marvel characters movie that they made, where they were like, let's make a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. I feel like all of the characters in here, organically, it actually makes sense for them to be interacting with each other. And I feel like that is such a huge win for these Spunsy movies, because for the most part, they'll have, like, okay, we have Madam Web. Who are we going to have Madam Web go against? Oh my god. Ezekiel Sims. He's, like, the oldest Spider-Man type character. They're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. We're going to make it work. And then they're like, okay, we didn't make this work. We'll just ADR it. It's fine. Some of the Venom movies, they're just like, okay, well, you know, we have a symbiote, so we're just going to, like, give another random human a symbiote. And that one's painful to me because the first Venom movie. I'm going on a whole tangent. I don't care. The first Venom movie, they make a big deal about how like the host needs to be so perfect and everything needs to be like absolutely 100% for these, symbiotes to even be able to like thrive with each other. And then in the most recent movies, they've just been kind of like, okay, you get a symbiote, you get a symbiote, you get a symbiote, and it drives me insane. And I hated that. But in the Craven movie, they kind of fixed that problem with like, okay, everybody in here is kind of like bounty hunters. Well, they're kind of like, drug cartel guys. They're very bad guys who just happen to live in the same city, who happen to be after the same thing, and they realize, okay, well, Kraven the Hunter is somebody who's going around and killing, very powerful people. Holy shit, I might be next in line. I might be somebody who's going to be murdered. Let's try to get to Kraven first. And I really like the fact that we have a lot of different areas where Kraven the Hunter is fighting, because he's fighting in the city where it's obvious like that's not his playing field, that's not where he's used to fighting. He ends up losing because he's in the city, and then to take the final battle and have it in his home territory, having them go into the wild, having him use his weird animal powers, which that's weird. That is weird. That like arguably that makes no sense, and everything about the storyline of how he got his powers, not great. But the fact that they were able to give us a first action sequence, that was incredible. Like, I actually think that that's probably one of the most memorable action sequences I've seen in any of these Sony Pictures movies. And then give us another one later in the movie after a great like tension buildup, having, just a bunch of random villains in this movie, which I love. Something that superhero media I feel like is always lacking on is there are so many comic book characters, and they'll have like, okay, well, that's just going to be, some random thug. Oh, what's his deal? Oh, he's just a thug. Why do that when you can introduce a character like the Foreigner, who nobody knows anything about, and just have him be the guy who's like being an issue for this character for a little bit. And then, oh, okay, well, he's dead now. Now we're going to, bring in the Rhino. Okay, well, he's an issue now. We're going to bring in Chameleon. Like, it doesn't need to be one villain for one, and it doesn't necessarily need to be just some random dudes. We have so much cool comic book characters. Throw them in the movie. This movie has so much on-the-nose dialogue that is incredibly, like, to the comic book fans, and I liked that. I appreciated that. It showed that it showed that Sony actually cared about the source material for once, and I vibed with it. I thought the action was good. I thought that there was a lot of great comedic aspects of it. I liked this movie. Alrighty, coming in third place, we have the Netflix original movie Carry On. I feel like this movie 100% mostly works just because of the casting alone. Jason Bateman as a villain, I will eat that up literally any day of the week. That is incredible. The way that he kind of like sets up everything in this movie, really, really on the nose. I feel like that was kind of like the theme of December. It was just a lot of like on the nose things, because this movie 100% does not shy away from the fact that we're doing a Die Hard. Okay, we need to make this Christmassy. Okay, this scene, even though it has nothing to do with Christmas whatsoever, we're going to make it take place at a Christmas tree farm. Okay, yeah, let's do that. And then, everything's Christmas Eve, so they're constantly making Christmas jokes. They're constantly talking about their Christmas plans, even though they're at work at Christmas Eve. So do they really have important Christmas plans? Who knows? And I just think that this movie is incredibly on the nose, right? Getting that out of the way. But then you take two insanely likable actors in Taron Egerton, who I've said this in the past, they can make a 2-hour movie of him just making a rubber band ball. I'd watch it. That man is so captivating, and literally everything he does, he's so entertaining. And I think in this movie, he's absolutely fantastic. He's sitting at a desk for a lot of it, and he's just kind of like awkwardly pacing around and being super duper stressed out, which, by the way, he would 100% get fired almost immediately. You could, like, all of the things he does in this movie are definitely fireable offenses. And the fact that he gets through even like 30 minutes of this plot, this plot falls apart the second you start thinking about it, which is why it's not higher on this list. But like I said, two incredibly likable actors, Jason Bateman as a villain, Taron Egerton as the protagonist. They knew what they were doing with this film. I feel like there's a lot of shots later in the movie that are incredibly cinematically pleasing. The intensity of this film, there's a specific scene where he is in a room and it's him and his boss, and there's like a guy who's like the fugitive or whatever. He's being a like evil guy, and they have to kill somebody, and it happens, and then it gets revealed that this guy who we thought was a bad guy is not a bad guy. He also has an earpiece in, and he's just also taking orders. It gets complicated. It gets messy. I like it. I really like what they did with this movie. Alrighty, and coming in second place, this movie was absolutely incredible. We have the movie Nosferatu. Gothic horror is so back, baby. I think that the acting in this movie was absolutely incredible. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The costuming, the set design, the entire world building of this movie. We get a drawbridge. I love drawbridges. We get to see the little bridge going up to the castle, and that literally made me so happy. I literally, I almost stood up and gave a standing ovation just for the drawbridge alone. We got a bridge in a movie. When was the last time we saw a drawbridge in a movie? Don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I loved this movie. I thought that the energy of it was fantastic. I like the fact that they weren't afraid to go black and white during all of the nighttime scenes. I like the fact that this movie feels like an older-timey movie. There's literally so much stuff that they do in this movie incredibly, incredibly well. The period piece, fantastic. The way that they have all of the, big exposition moments built up to us. The fact that William Dafoe's character is the professor who kind of, has his own beliefs about specific little supernatural things, but he's never been able to actually quite put it to test, and now he's, seeing these things unfold in front of his eyes, and he's, going crazy, and he's so excited about it. Awesome. I loved William Dafoe's character in this movie. I'm the kind of person where, I do need kind of a comic relief character or something like that sometimes in a movie. And for me, for this movie, it was engaging for a lot of it. And there were just certain moments where it's starting to drag on a little bit. And then William Dafoe showed up, picked up the pace, made everything 10 times better. And I absolutely loved everything they were able to do with this movie. Lily Rose Depp has incredible acting performances. I think that Bill Skarsgård, right? That's the person who plays him. Count Orlok. Absolutely phenomenal. I just think that this entire movie was so captivating, and the amount of heart and soul and energy and efforts that went into this film need to be praised because it was a thing of beauty. Alrighty, and coming in first place, we had a movie that had its wide release this month. The movie Juror Number 2. This movie released on HBO Max this month. I believe it was in select theaters last month, but I searched it up. It was in less than 50 theaters, or it was in exactly 50 theaters. Not a single one in Florida. I couldn't find it. I did look for it. This has Nicholas Hoult in it, and he's one of my favorite actors working today. I would have seen this in the theaters if I could have. I could not. So, we're including it here. I need to talk about this movie because I love this movie to death, and for some reason I did not do a full-length review of it. Juror Number 2 has one of the greatest concepts for a film I think I've seen in literally so long, and I am going to spoil it, but it is the premise of the movie. It genuinely is. I'm sure if you look it up, it probably says it in the tagline or whatever. In the synopsis, that's the word I meant to say. Imagine a person going to jury duty, being upset because, oh my god, at home is their pregnant wife, and they really just want to be there for their wife as much as possible. They have a lot going on. They would rather not be in this random courtroom, being a part of a jury. And during the first day, you're just kind of there, whatever, just, listening to the things, not really focusing too much on it. And then all of a sudden, they explain what had happened with the girl who is dead and the person who is being, charged for murder. And you realize, wait a minute, this happened on a night where I was driving. It was storming really badly. This happened on a street where I thought I hit a deer, and coming to the shocking realization that you killed someone and having to deal with the moral battle inside of you of, oh my god, what do I do? Do I tell somebody? Oh my god, this guy is innocent and we're going to all charge him for being guilty of murder. A lot of people have given this guy a really bad rap. He personally, the Juror Number 2, has had a lot of change over the last couple of years. He's became a much better person. He dealt with a lot of alcoholism. He's, rehabilitated himself. He's found Jesus. He's found a lot of, help in society. And now he's having to deal with the fact that, this person who's standing in front of them in the courtroom has a really bad past. People think that he is the person who's capable of committing murder, and he wants to help that man, who's innocent, not get arrested. But he also doesn't want to blow his own cover, because if he ends up, proving that this guy is not guilty, they're going to keep going out until they can figure out who actually murdered this girl. And it eventually will come to a point where it ends up at his doorstep. He's going to be the one who's caught and framed because he is the person who ultimately ended up killing this girl. And I think that this was just such a captivating movie. I think that this movie had a lot of plot twists and turns. I think that there are so many sequences where it's literally your heart will sink in your chest. It is so good. I think that Nicholas Hoult's acting performances in here is absolutely incredible. I'm really hoping he gets a nomination for Best Actor for the Oscars for this movie. I think that he absolutely 100% would deserve it. And there's just so much depth and nuance in this movie. I really, really love it. But yeah, that was my rankings for the month of December. I am incredibly sorry that it was super underwhelming. I did not have the opportunity to go to the movies a lot, but that being said, there's some that came out towards the end of December that I'll probably be watching and making movie reviews of here and there. So that was it for this video, guys. But thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. And if you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe. And I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bow, bow, bow.